You know that feeling when you pour all your energy into teaching something, only to watch it just disappear? Like it went in one ear and right out the other? Well, whether you're training a new hire or leading a big workshop, making knowledge actually stick is the name of the game. Today we're diving into a really powerful framework from Sharon Bowman's The 10-Minute Trainer that honestly might just change how you think about learning forever.
All right. First things first, let's talk about a feeling we all know way too well. It's that universal pain you feel in pretty much any classroom or boardroom, and it's got a name: death by lecture.
I mean, how perfect is this quote from the book's foreword? PowerPoint, overused, is nothing more than electronic chloroform. It just perfectly sums up that feeling, right? Of being slowly put to sleep by slide after slide of endless text.
Yeah, of course it does. We've all been there. You're sitting in a dark room, your eyes are getting heavy, and the expert up front just talks and talks and talks. And our only job is to just sit there and somehow absorb it all.
So let's just be real for a second. This old model of just dumping a ton of information on an audience, it's fundamentally broken. The book makes a great point that it probably never really worked that well, but for today's learners, it is a complete non-starter.
So why doesn't it work anymore? I mean, it's not like people are any less smart. The book argues it's because our brains have, literally, been rewired for a totally different pace. So let's talk about the 10-minute brain.
Okay, this is going to sound a little weird at first, but according to the book, the biggest thing that changed how we learn isn't the internet or our smartphones, it's actually television. Yeah, our daily media habits have actually re-engineered our attention spans.
10 minutes. That's it. According to the book, this is the new magic number. It's the natural rhythm of our modern, rewired attention span.
So why 10 minutes? Well, think about how you watch TV. An hour-long show isn't one solid hour of content, right? It's broken up by commercial breaks. The book argues that our brains have literally adapted to this rhythm. We've been trained to expect a little mental break, a change of pace, every 10 minutes or so. It's not a character flaw, it's just a conditioned response. So to keep people engaged, you have to work with that rhythm, not fight against it.
Okay, so if the old way is broken, what's the new way? Well, this new reality demands a completely different philosophy of what learning even is, and honestly, it's a really powerful one.
This right here, this is the absolute core of the whole thing. It's not about what the teacher says, it's about what the learner creates. This one idea, from the book's foreword, changes absolutely everything. The goal isn't just delivering information, it's sparking creation.
And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. You see, the old way is all about the presenter, but the new way, it's all about the learner. Your job isn't to be an information dispenser anymore, just pouring knowledge into people's heads. Nope. Your new job is to wake people up and get them to build their own understanding.
And that one simple sentence, it changes everything. It completely shifts the focus from you, the expert, to them, the learners. You're no longer the star of the show. You're more like the guide who makes their journey of discovery possible.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we get people creating?
Well, the book is just packed with these super simple, fast-paced activities called Got a Minute activities. They're designed to break up those long lectures and just jolt the brain back into engagement.
So for example, instead of that classic dreaded question, any questions? Which, is always met with dead silence, you use signals. Something like, hey, thumbs up if this makes sense, thumbs sideways if you're a little fuzzy, and boom. Instantly you get feedback from the entire room without killing the momentum.
We usually think of doodling as a sign that someone's not paying attention. But the book says it's the exact opposite. Asking people to draw a simple little icon for a complex idea forces them to process it on a much deeper level. It engages both the visual and the language parts of their brain, and that's what really locks it into long-term memory.
And the key phrase here is learner created. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. Seriously, a stick figure is fine. The power isn't in the finished drawing. It's in the mental process of turning an abstract idea into a simple, personal picture. That's what makes the memory stick.
This one is so simple, but it's incredibly effective. After you've been sitting for a while, just the physical act of standing up completely changes the energy in the room. It gets the blood flowing again, and it's an absolute game changer for those of us who learn best when we're moving around.
So all of these quick, simple little activities, they're all pointing toward one big, powerful conclusion about what it really means to teach effectively today. It's all about handing the learning
back to the learners.
I love this metaphor because it just nails it. You're the guide. You provide the map, you point out the destination, but you can't drive the car for them. The learners themselves have to take the wheel and navigate the journey. Real, deep learning only happens when they are the ones in control. So, to make all this super practical, the book gives us this simple but really powerful 4-step training map. First, you make connections. You get learners invested in the topic and connected to each other. Then, you explain concepts, but only in those short, 10-minute, brain-friendly chunks. The really crucial third step is to practice skills, letting them get their hands dirty with the new knowledge. And finally, they get to perform and celebrate, applying what they've learned and getting that awesome feeling of accomplishment.
Ultimately, this is about way more than just clever techniques. It's about empowerment. Because when learners feel that the learning actually belongs to them, like this quote says, everything changes. They don't just sit there passively anymore. They wake up and they bring their own energy and passion to the whole process.
And that's really the challenge that the 10-Minute Trainer leaves us with. It's a call to action for anyone who ever has to teach, train, or present anything. The old way is over. The future of learning is active, it's engaged, and it is firmly in the hands of the learner. So the only question left is, are you ready to hand it over?